Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Jelil Adedoyin, and I'm quite excited to be here. And I mean, uh, so based on my multi-industry experience and also the way I've also been able to work with different clients, because one thing that he didn't mention from that profile is the fact that I've had the privilege of working with several clients. So from my own perspective, I kind of understand some of the challenges that you guys are facing or, some of the day-to-day challenges, like we say. And I mean, just to do like some sort of like intro, before the main experts in the field will go in depth, I want to talk about, few things and also sort of like share or try to understand from, different, professionals in here today what you guys are also, working on and how you are trying to reach your end goal when it comes to, you know, achieving the business goals. I mean, the results which you so desired, right? Now, the big topic is, leveraging Google performance marketing, but there are quite a number of things that we also need to pay attention to before getting to that level. And I think it's important that we cover that. So what I would do is, a brief intro, a few slides, but in between, I might also, share experience from my own day-to-day, what's it called as well, activities. Yeah, next slide. So this will be, three key points, very brief, right? Three key points. One, we'll look at what Google Performance Max means. It's a form of, let's say, campaign objective. I mean, for those that have been running Google Ads, but not so new, right? But I think a lot of people still don't have, the full knowledge of how it works and the benefits. So I will, try as much as possible to enlighten us, share one or two on that. And secondly, why should businesses care? If you're running ads, and advertising, as we know, is very important to business growth in Nigeria. And that is because it's a competitive space, let's be very honest. And considering the economic situation as well, where you're trying to, grab the attention of these consumers. You don't know if they can afford what you're selling. You don't know when they can afford what you're selling. And you don't even know where they are. But what advertising does is to give you, or is to bridge that gap. So with Google, and like, Dami has said, Google gives you that technology. I mean, today, if you want to solve a problem, the first thing you will think of before asking your neighbor is Google it. So imagine if you have that platform with that massive data and that massive information, how well can you then harness the information on that platform? So we'll talk about why businesses should consider, leveraging this. And thirdly, what are the key benefits? What are the key benefits? But first off, let's start by quickly talking about what Google Performance Max campaign means. Next slide, please. So I consider this, one unified campaign that gives you an infinite reach. Again, I mentioned the fact that it is very important for businesses to run or to advertise. Whether you're spending big budgets, whether you're spending, peanuts, you need to advertise. But for you to advertise, you need to understand who your target audience are. You need to understand their behavior. You need to understand, quite a lot of things about them. And this can be, either getting this information from existing customers or even trying to do research about, new customers. I mean, take for a second. We started this session by having you guys introduce yourself, and we're learning, right? And the team could also get some information about, location, how some of you found out about, AdPay, and so on. I'm also a user of AdPay, and as a matter of fact, I think I opened an account for an agency recently, and the next thing, which is an amazing thing that I also appreciate about them, and this is not me, trying to, just talk about, how good they are, is the reality. We got a call from the success manager, Iyanu. That was why they said everybody knows Iyanu. She called to walk me through a very simple, challenge. And from then, campaign started running. Let's dial back to maybe a few years back. This might not be the case. And again, because you have Google in Nigeria does not mean Google can automatically power, or support all businesses of all sizes, which is where, businesses, or which is where platforms like, AdPay comes to play. But then again, the most important part is, how do you ensure that you're spending your money the right way? How do you ensure that you're reaching the right target audience? If by virtue of looking at, pictures, or by virtue of interacting with people, briefly on a phone call, or via a phone call, or even, Google Meet, if you think you can easily determine if they can buy your products, that might not be true. But there are quite a number of details that is still, missing in between that you can play with, which is where, some of this enabler, comes to play, like Google performance, campaign opportunity. Now, the interesting thing about PMax, right? Like I said, there is another professional, in the field that would do a deep dive into this, and I would really ask that each and every one of us, try to listen well and see how we can really take what will work for our business. It's a large, it's a wide, or a very huge conversation to have, but there are key points that will be relevant to your business, and you can easily, take that, apply it, and see how it works. Now, we've had a lot of, talks around AI. It's no more, news to anybody. Even probably someone in, secondary school will know about AI, either as something they use maybe on the platform, which maybe internet, maybe mobile phone, something like that, either as an enabler to taking pictures or processing data, processing information, or to even, employing that same techniques to your marketing campaign. AI is very important, and what AI does is that it helps you to figure out some things quickly and efficiently, and that is also why, or that is the reason why, Google, being one of the partners in this space, could easily power, their platform with some automation, and, what will really give you the right, or what will really give you the tools to deliver or to get the right result that you're looking for. So I would say it's all about leveraging automation that would help you to deliver, the right advert, in this case, right, to the right set of audience. So what that means is that if you are a real estate developer or a real estate, a business, and you're looking to sell a couple of properties, how do you figure out the right audience to target? Are you going to profile them based on how they look? Or are you going to profile them based on their bank balance that you don't have access to? Or are you going to profile them based on the first, how they interact with you, basically? All of these three things might not be a unique qualifier, might not even be relevant enough, because there are still a lot of data, to look at, right? And which is where Google advertising, comes in, right? they help you to, or the platform helps you to figure out some of these hidden details that you don't know. All you need to do is be prepared. All you need to do is position your business well. I mean, Google is not going to help you to build the house, but you build the house, make it look good. Also do other necessary things like what you want to sell, present it in the most, amazing way. Then allow the platform to help you do, the groundwork of finding the right audience that might be interested, or the right audience that would even be ready to pay, at the moment. And so what this means is that while you're busy with your day-to-day activity, there is a trusted companion, which is the automation, right? Which is Google Ads, right? There's a trusted companion that helps you to, figure out all of this by finding conversions where and when they happen with the help and, power of automation. That is how amazing this can be, right? And again, it's also a function of you putting your product out there and allowing the platform to help you find the right audience that are willing, either from their historic behavior, maybe purchase history and all other information. Because, let's be realistic, right? Whenever we access the internet, we leave a certain footprint, either through our device or through, pages that we interact with. And some of those information, of course, we decide to, allow that information to be, gathered, right? Some of this information helps in figuring out who we are, in the face of whatsoever advertiser or businesses that wants to, engage with us. Next slide, please. Now, why should businesses care? Before now, the consumer journey used to be awareness, consideration, purchase, and, after purchase, what happens afterwards. But now it is awareness, consideration, purchase, and still post-purchase. So what has changed? It looks as if it's still the same. No, a lot actually. So underneath awareness, before now, if you want to run an ad, if we're talking about creating awareness for your brand, where will you go to? Sorry? Let's say 10 years ago or 15, 20 years ago. If you want to advertise your brand, you want to advertise your business, where will you go to? Sorry? Traditional marketing, TV. Exactly. Exactly. And then you're waiting for a certain time period for your ad to run. But now, the consumer journey has changed, and under awareness alone, you have a lot of platforms. So the difference between then and now is, then it used to be linear. Like you said, traditional marketing, there is nothing more than that. TV, radio, billboard. How many brands can afford TV, billboards, and all that stuff? Don't let us even talk about that, right? But today, brick and mortar businesses, pop-up shops, someone that would magnify their corner, their room corner, and it seems as if it's Silverbed Galleria, whereas it's just one, 4x4 room, square meter room, right? But then they amplify it so well that people see it online and they can see it from anywhere in the world. So before it used to be linear, now it is multi-channel, non-linear, meaning you can't really determine, say, because I live in some part of Lagos, you can wait for me on your billboard, hoping that I will drive past, or do you understand? So, post-COVID or even during COVID, right, everybody was on lockdown. Will you take the billboard to my house? And in a case where there is also, irregular power supply, will you determine when I will have power supply for you to then, run your ad on my TV screen? So all of those uncertainty has been eliminated, especially with the likes of, performance marketing, Max, right? because you can then do certain things and expect a different result entirely. Things like, position your brand in the best possible way, bring it out in the way that people see it, they like it, and all you need to do is allow the platform to figure out who is interested in that brand. It is not magic. It is a function of, different data sets that is already, that has been aggregated over time. And it helps you to achieve that efficiency, right? So from awareness to consideration, that has changed as well. People think and take decision on the go. Even though we can also influence that based on maybe offering, maybe, timing and so on. But still, people, make decision on the go. If I see something, I like it, I can go for it. It might not end up as a final purchase, but still, I will start off by showing interest, you understand? And if you, as a business owner, you are able to really lock that person down, it becomes an opportunity for you to convert them. For example, you display a 3-bedroom duplex or, any type of property, and you get 5 different people asking, where is it located? How much is it? Can I come for, inspection and all that stuff? How you will treat those people will be totally different from other set of people that would say something like, oh, they play. This one will fine, if you find in real life. Because in real time, you can differentiate potentially, relevant audience from totally irrelevant audience. Now, what you do with that data depends on you, which is why I said it's also about the readiness of you as the business person or the agents or the experts, to ensure that when the opportunity comes knocking, you have the right product and you have the right setup. Like I said, when I registered on AdPay, even though I've learned about the platform before now, so it wasn't like I was just making inquiry, but there was still something that was done that made me to seal off, that consideration, to say there is no, second thought to this. Because of that follow-up. And what does that follow-up cost the business? Maybe next to nothing, because it was less than a minute phone call. So imagine how businesses can scale. Imagine how businesses can achieve exponential growth by ensuring that they set up, their business in the right way, focus on what really matters to you, and then allow the platform to, to do justice for you. So, consideration phase has also changed. The purchase, everything is no longer linear. It's no longer, one straight line. It is now, multi-channel. You can reach, the consumer on different platforms, on social, on display, on Google search, on mobile apps, and so on. And the interesting part is that this is also going from online to offline. So it is not just online communication. There is a way you can ensure synergy between your offline advertising to your online. And some of these things are even being powered by Google. For example, Google Maps. You have some digital boards that would give you real-time traffic reports, which is powered by Google Maps, right? And beside that board, you see an advertising placement. And, there is a way this thing works. To a large extent, some people will still think it's magic. It is just right timing. And that is what automation does, right timing, relevancy, and also being able to, deploy the right technology, behind this. So, again, in a nutshell, the consumer journey is no longer linear, and it is no longer business as usual. The interesting thing is that it is now multi-channel, but you don't need to go all out on each of these platforms. You have an enabler, which is, Google Performance Max, to help you figure out, to help you do that hard work while you focus on what really matters to you. And, the last part for me is, what is the benefit, in all of this, what is the benefit? Key benefits includes cross-channel reach. Like I said, we've grown from the age and time of, TV, radio, out of home, whereby a lot of businesses can't even afford to, be present on those platforms. Now you see adverts on social media, you see it on Google search, on mobile apps, on YouTube, and all of these platforms. The cross-channel reach enables you to easily a lot of this relevant target audience, and helps you to scale your campaigns intelligently. Also, yes, the second point, intelligent targeting. Before now, it's just let's assume the rich people are living in Ikoyi. Let's assume the average people are living in somewhere else. Now it is more realistic, and it is based on this huge amount of data that is available for you to leverage. Now you can determine, does the people living in Ikoyi, are they even relevant to my business? Are they the one that should be, or that will like to patronize me? Or is it someone that is living in Ibadan, or someone living in Abuja? You can easily determine that, and all of this can be made possible depending on how far you want to go. Optimize performance. Now you get to make all of this happen. You get to improve on your marketing efforts in real time. It's not a question of the billboard that we have in somewhere in Lagos. Is it still looking good, or has rain spoiled the board, or is there any obstruction? You understand what I mean? You can easily optimize your performance by making changes to what is not working, and also improving on what works for you. And even some of these things can be done automatically because of the power of automation, right? Because all you need to do is what? Do the groundwork, do the hard work, prepare the platforms for what you want to do, and the platform keeps learning about, your business. And then dynamic adaptability. This gives you the opportunity to scale your marketing efforts. So you're not going to sit down on Google search thinking you will get the best results from Google search. You're not going to sit down on YouTube thinking you'll get the best results from YouTube. You might be getting, awesome results from maybe shopping ads in June. And maybe in July, Google search will deliver that result for you. That multi-channel reach, that multi-channel targeting helps you, or will help your business to deliver that right result. And all of this, again, can be done with the automation powered platform. And lastly, enhanced efficiency. I mean, we can define this in different terms, but I would like to explain this based on when you're running a marketing campaign, you want to ensure that you're getting value for your money. And value for money means either in terms of your ROI, your return on investment, to ensure that if you spend 1 Naira, are you getting 2 Naira in return? And you heard one of the businesses here talked about how they were able to achieve lower cost per acquisition, by using, certain enablers. So it's all about ensuring that you achieve the right results at the right amount, that is reasonable enough for your business. And as you scale along, you are also able to then improve, in whatsoever means, either in your marketing budget or even in, your frequency in terms of how often you run the campaign and so on. So what I want you to, the key takeout is the fact that before you can, or let's say before you start thinking of using this, there are certain things that needs to be done. Just like the way we're talking about automation. So it's like you want automation to take over something. You also need to feed, that technology with the right information so that it can run, over time adequately for you. So The next person that would, give us a deep dive into this will sure explain some of these things, deeper. And like I said earlier, at the start of this, I said, try and see where your business fits into this, and then try and see how you can start, implementing. And personally, I'm a big fan of experimentation, right? It's not going to work out perfectly at once, but over time, it will surely work out. So if you experiment, it's not a function of, hey, I'm starting today, I need to see results tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. I mean, people have been running radio ads for many decades, so it's a function of trying to, painstakingly trust the process, manage it efficiently, and also ensure that you're taking learnings and you're reapplying it into, how this will help your business to grow. So in a nutshell, I mean, this is overview, basically, and hopefully, the next, what's it called? The next person or the next speaker will do a lot more, awesome job in helping you guys understand how Google Ads and how some of the Google Ads capabilities will help you to exponentially grow your business in 2025 and beyond. Any question on this?